Hello there. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. We're continuing with our focus on the UGC rules row, because this debate is not set in selecting sides. It's about striking that right balance, a balance that we clearly don't see on the streets or on campuses. It's a story that has triggered a political firestorm and an unrest on campuses across the country. The confrontation over the University Grants Commission's new regulations for the promotion of equity, it's far from over. In fact, the divide is now only deepening. Protests are continuing across campuses. Take a look at some of those pictures. And outside UGC offices, as students, particularly from the general category, voice strong opposition to the recently notified rules. The Supreme Court is likely to hear a plea tomorrow, challenging the rules on the ground that it has adopted a non-inclusionary definition of caste-based discrimination and excludes certain categories from institutional protection. Now, the opposition parties have stepped up their criticism, warning the central government against any dilution or rollback of these particular measures that we're talking about. At the same time, President Draupadi Murmu, in her address to Parliament today, emphasized the government's commitment to social justice. She said her government is working with full sensitivity for Dalits, the backward classes, the marginalized and tribal communities. She added that every citizen should get their full rights without discrimination, and the government is committed to true social justice.
मेरी सरकार दलितों, पिछड़ों, वंचितों, जनजातीय समाज सभी के लिए पूरी संवेदनशीलता के से काम कर रही है। सच्चा सामाजिक न्याय यानी देश के हर नागरिक को उसका पूरा हक मिले, बिना किसी भेदभाव से मिले। मेरी सरकार सच्ची सामाजिक न्याय के लिए समर्पित है।
Political calculus or actual and genuine reforms? Well, we'll try and decode that tonight. The new UGC regulations, notified earlier this month, replaces the 2012 framework. It makes it mandatory for all higher education institutions to set up equity committees and mechanisms to address complaints with a focus on protecting scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, persons with disabilities, and women from discrimination, especially caste-based issues. And the government is also trying to douse the flames of anxiety. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has issued assurances claiming that no one will be subject to harassment and that safeguards are in fact in place. They have stated on record, and I quote, "No one will have the right to misuse anything in the name of discrimination," I unquote, and that all arrangements will remain strictly within the framework of the Constitution. However, the political war of words tells a different story. The ruling BJP is trying to balance the narrative. Party leader Nishikant Dubey has come out to say that the UGC's rule is not politics but policy, asserting that it will apply equally to scheduled castes, equally to scheduled tribes, the backward classes, as well as the general category. But the opposition isn't buying it entirely, and neither are the critics. Shiv Sena UBT's Priyanka Chaturvedi has raised a fundamental question about inclusivity. She asks, shouldn't the law be inclusive and ensure protection is guaranteed to all? Why is there discrimination in the application of the law? Meanwhile, the Congress and the Samajwadi Party are viewing this through the lens of social justice politics. Congress leader Ajay Kumar Lallu suggests that the Modi government is using these rules to project itself as the champion of social justice, perhaps with an eye on electoral gains. On the other hand, Ram Gopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party has fully backed the UGC, stating they haven't done anything wrong but have simply given people a long overdue opportunity to complain about injustices.
This kind of guidelines that have been introduced, which are discriminatory, which are not following the natural course of justice, which are vague and which can be open to misuse, is withdrawn immediately, because generations of students would suffer because of the poison that this particular guidelines would leave on the campus.
भेदभाव रोकने के लिए अगर एक कमेटी बनी है तो अच्छी कमेटी है, लेकिन जो इतना हंगामा हो रहा कि इससे सवर्णों के खिलाफ में एक तरफा कार्रवाई होगी, बिना प्रमाण कैसे कार्रवाई हो जाएगी? तो भाई चाहे वो रेप है और सेक्सुअल असॉल्टमेंट है, डावरी है, सारे कानून इसी तरीके से हैं। मैं समझता हूं कि इसमें बीजेपी संभवतः एक गेम खेल रही है कि सवर्ण तो 100% उसको वोट देते हैं, SC ST OBC भी खुश हो जाए। कौन सा पावर इसमें दे दिया गया?
मैंने आपसे कहा दोषी बचे नहीं और निर्दोष फंसे नहीं, निर्दोष फंसे नहीं।
किसी को उत्पीड़न होने नहीं दिया जाए, कोई भेदभाव नहीं होगा, कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के नाम पे किसी को भी मिसयूज करने का अधिकार नहीं रहेगा।
जहां आज भी पूरे समाज का बहिष्कार हो जाता है, जहां आज भी जो है अभद्र टिप्पणियां की जाती है, वहां जाति की सच्चाई को आप छिपा नहीं सकते हो। जब उसमें EWS यानी कि आर्थिक रूप से कमजोर वर्गों को जोड़ दिया गया है, जिसमें सारे ही सामान्य जाति के बच्चे हैं, ये अलग जो है आर्थिक रूप से कमजोर वर्ग है जिसमें SC ST OBC नहीं है, सिर्फ सामान्य जाति के बच्चों को 10% आरक्षण दे दिया गया है, तो उनको भी उसमें ऐड कर लिया गया। तो फिर किसी को दिक्कत क्या हो रही है? फिर वो सामान्य के, दलित के और पिछड़ों क्या? मैं तो इसको एक ट्रैप मानता हूँ। सरकार सामाजिक न्याय के नाम पे कमजोर वर्गों के साथ धोखा कर रही है।
Well, the big questions that we are asking on the show tonight. Will the Modi government risk alienating upper castes or dilute its OBC SC outreach by revisiting these UGC rules? Can these regulations truly ensure equity without leading to misuse or creating, well, new divisions on campuses? Those are some of the questions that we'll try and decode. With me on the broadcast, Ashok Bharti, Chairman, National Confederation of Dalit and Adivasi Organizations. Many thanks for speaking to us. Suresh Kochital, political analyst. Many thanks for joining us, Mr. Kochital. And Dr. Rakesh Ranjan, spokesperson for the RJD. Of course, GM Shaheen, leader of the JDU, and Rahul Ishwar, author and activist, soon going to be with us as well. Let me quickly go across to Mr. Kochital. Mr. Kochital, you know, let's get the snowball rolling here. And of course, state for the viewers' benefit over here, whether you think this is going to work out or not work out, whether you're in support of these UGC regulations or not in support of these UGC regulations. Why has an academic regulation suddenly turned into a high voltage political issue? Is this debate being driven more by student anxiety or by political signaling? What kind of a catch-22? Why are people essentially calling this a catch-22? What's your opinion on it? Mr. Kochital, did you get our question right?
No, I was disconnected for a while. Can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Why has this academic regulation suddenly turned into this political high voltage issue? I mean, is this being driven more by students' anxiety? Is this political signaling? What's really happening? What's your purview of it?
I think the way I look at it is, if we go back to the Mandal Commission protest, if you remember when we were in college those days, something similar happened then. The reservation for the backward classes, and that came through that particular Mandal Commission, resulted in a huge amount of protest in the campuses, outside the campuses, and everywhere. Now let's look at this. The first thing we need to understand is Rohit Vemula is not a Dalit. We need to correct that particular one. It has been upheld by the courts that he is not a Dalit. So first of all, that Dalit aspect doesn't come into this. Second is the Supreme Court is going to hear a petition tomorrow. Just wait for it. I mean, I'm a Nair.
Mr. Kochital, once again, what do you mean by the Dalit aspect does not come into this?
I'll just come back to you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm coming to. For example, I'm a Nair Menon community from Kerala, but of course I grew up in Hyderabad. Technically, we are Kshatriyas. We're not part of the backward class anyway. But the point is very simple. Is that the fact the Dalit thing in this, there was a paragraph that was there that was removed. About 2-3 lines, crucial lines were removed from the draft, which was supposed to be incorporated. Obviously, some Babu in UGC did this job, but then as an education minister, Dharmendra Pradhan, the buck stops with him. He will not answer how this happened. Now, look at the very crucial fact. Most of us have missed it. Where is women in this? There is no women mentioned anywhere in this. Suppose discrimination, we saw the RG Kar case and other things.
Yeah.
What happened to women? Why is there no action being proposed to be taken against harassment of women? And that is missing in this entire thing. Is only OBCs, caste, SC, ST and all that. This is exactly what I want to ask those who from the UGC who proposed this law. And, you know, it's lawful actually both ways along the way. Because tomorrow when the Supreme Court says nothing doing, we're going to stay this, the entire thing goes out of the window. And what happens with the reservation system? We all know that. And tomorrow Congress is already opposing that any dilution will not be tolerated. So obviously they know that
Well, all right, some sort of
BJP
technical difficulties
has a
over there.
vote bank which is basically, it has an upper.
Yeah. Go on. Please repeat your thoughts. That signal, we're having some sort of network issue, Mr. Kochitil. We're going to quickly patch that up and come back to you. I'm going to go across to Ashok ji. Ashok ji, लोग कह रहे हैं कि ये नियम जरूरत से ज्यादा सख्त हैं. आपका क्या जवाब है इस बात पर?
कौन लोग कह रहे हैं? पहले तो सवाल ये है कि कौन लोग कह रहे हैं. इस देश में जो लोग, जिन लोगों ने भेदभाव बनाया, जो लोग सदियों से भेदभाव करते आ रहे हैं, मैं समझता हूं कि हमने पूरी गाइडलाइन को पढ़ा है. गाइडलाइन में 2 तरह के डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात की गई है. एक डिस्क्रिमिनेशन बताया गया कास्ट बेस्ड डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, जिसमें SC ST OBC के साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात की गई है. दूसरी बात की गई है कि डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इन जनरल, तो उसमें महिलाओं के साथ, डिसेबिलिटी के साथ, EWS के साथ, सबके साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात की गई है.
जी.
जो कानून है, जो नियम है, उसका जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है, ऑब्जेक्टिव में समाज का कोई तबका छूटा नहीं है. शेड्यूल कास्ट शामिल है उसमें, शेड्यूल ट्राइब शामिल है उसमें, EWS शामिल है. इस देश में एक्सक्लूजन का पहला कानून अगर आया वो EWS था. गरीबों में शेड्यूल कास्ट को उन्होंने शामिल नहीं किया. तो मैं समझता हूं कि ये कानून उससे बहुत बेहतर है और ये कम से कम इस बात को रिकॉग्नाइज करता है.
अशोक जी, क्रिटिक्स का और आलोचकों का ये भी कहना है कि सामान्य वर्ग को सुरक्षा नहीं देते, ये रेगुलेशन सुरक्षा नहीं देती.
कैसे? लोकपाल है उसमें, अपील का सिस्टम है, कौन कह रहा है नहीं देता है? आप देखिए इसके अंदर है ना, अपील का सिस्टम है ना, कानून के जो नियम है उसमें अपील का सिस्टम है. अगर मान लीजिए किसी को लगता है गलत है, वो अपील में जा सकता है. और दूसरा ये कि हाइपोथेटिकली कुछ भी सोच लेना ठीक नहीं है.
फेक एक्यूजेशंस के खिलाफ कोई पनिशमेंट नहीं है. इसमें लिखा है फेक एक्यूजेशंस के खिलाफ कोई पनिशमेंट नहीं है. शायद यही एक.
मुझे ये बताइए कि अपील में जब लोग जाएंगे तो अपील क्या करेगी? वो पनिशमेंट नहीं देगी, वो फैसला नहीं देगी कि ये गलत हुआ या सही हुआ. तो मतलब अगर कमेटी है तो अल्टीमेटली व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ द कमेटी इफ इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू डिसाइड राइट एंड रॉन्ग?
नो, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट अशोक जी. मेरा तो बस ये मानना है कि कमेटी कैसी है और व्हाट डज द कमेटी कंप्राइज ऑफ, दैट इज अ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट थिंग. कमेटी उस पे काम करती है या नहीं करती है, वो तो तीसरी बात ही हो गई.
Obviously in our country the issue is that the most of the processes are hijacked by the powerful caste and communities. For example, many people have raised these issues. Let me share that when people say that there is no voice for the Savarnas or the general categories, this is completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. And you know, it's like that the people are suffering from the anxiety. Why this anxiety is there? Anxiety is there because they have the guilt feeling of discriminating with the people. Discriminating with the scheduled caste, discriminating with scheduled tribe, discriminating with women, discriminating with the poor. So the people who have the guilt feeling are anxious that this law may come to help to those who are being discriminated.
Okay.
So that's the issue.
All right. Many thanks for your early on submissions. Ashok ji, I'll come back to you. Dr. Rakesh Ranjan also with us, spokesperson for the RJD. I can see Mr. Kochitil is back. I have the regulations as a printout with me. Mr. Kochitil, I was reading, point number 7. It says the committee must have representation of other backward classes, persons with disabilities, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and women. It clearly states, you were talking about women. It does
representation. I'm not talking of the particular one which says that if women get harassed by it, that is not mentioned anywhere. Anyway, that's a matter of debate. But my point is very simple, is that when we talk of this particular kind of notification that comes out, the first thing would have been to get it cleared by the Supreme Court, because the case emanated in the Supreme Court. Why was it not cleared by the Supreme Court? Well, all would have been done by just get the AG or somebody, ASG, to just file a kind of affidavit there, and the Supreme Court would have said, fine, go ahead with this. The problem is very simple. I mean, I heard the previous gentleman saying there's a guilty feeling. I think it's not a guilty feeling. It's a fact that Supreme Court just last week said that if somebody is abused for his caste, it doesnn't become an SC/ST Act abuse. Remember that the same Supreme Court said that you can abuse somebody, but that doesn't really become an SC/ST case, because that is not, the guy didn't mention, the person didn't actually mean it. and look at the kind of thing that expands there, then what happens to your UGC regulation tomorrow? Then it becomes totally ineffective, because there is a Supreme Court judgment which said that, somebody says, "Main kisi ko gali diya," so that is not a part of the SC/ST case. So this is what I'm trying to ask, is that there are two laws contradicting each other here. And this is not a law, this is only a UGC notification, which has been published in the Gazette.
Yeah.
Now, when the Supreme Court tomorrow says, no, sorry, this is totally wrong, we are scrapping it, what happens? You all go back to square one. And then, everybody forgets about it.
All right. Well, let's wait what happens in the Supreme Court. Maybe they take it up tomorrow. We're waiting for the supplementary item list to come out, and we'll have a better understanding how soon the Supreme Court is going to take this up. But I again feel that the objective of these regulations clearly states that to eradicate discrimination on the basis of religion, race and gender, and I think that's where women come in. But I'm going to quickly bring in Dr. Rakesh Ranjan also here. Dr. Rakesh Ranjan, RJD, let's talk about the party. Let's talk about Bihar politics as well, has historically championed social justice. Critics here say that these rules risk creating fear on the campuses. There is a fear of misuse as well. How do you respond to that concern and your rebuttals, or if you want to echo across the points of what Mr. Kochital here is saying or what Ashok ji said earlier on?
Well, Kabir, good evening, and good evening our fellow panelists and your viewers as well.
Yeah.
I don't think this bill is people are taking it it's completely different. There is a whole scene has created with just a perception, not the reality. Really, if you go through with the bill, I don't think there is something like that which people are coming on the road and this all thing they are doing. I think if you see about committees, discrimination and all things, what happened here, for making attempt of just to promoting any progressive society here and to proceed in the way of establishing an egalitarian society, some people who don't want to establish here the equality, liberty and justice go on the protest and always they create a scene like this. Why don't we go through the constitution? We look the article 14, 15, 16, 17 and to 90, right to equality. Itself it says you can do or you can make each and every provision against the discriminations.
Yep.
And you can do whatever the provision you want to establishing an egalitarian society. Why the people are fearful? They don't want to eradicate that kind of discrimination. My question is that, is this bill has pointed anyone that you are now discriminating or no? Even in the committees, most of the people, if you want and if you think, accept SC, ST and OBC representation, even look, the VC, the number of VC of the Central University, I don't think the one or two, except one or two VC, each and every VC will belong to those castes. I don't think even in the committee itself is anything doing in a way of discriminatory things or promoting.
All right.
So the people who belong from the privileged society, they want to keep it in the same status quo. Don't want to change.
Okay, so you're saying people are resisting change over here. There is, and it's less about student anxiety and more about loss of privilege. You can correct me if I'm wrong here.
No. They are not doing anything for the stress and anxiety. They are just doing that. They are privileged.
Okay.
Must remain at the same.
I understand. I can see Rahul Ishwar is with us here on the broadcast. Many thanks for joining us, Rahul. I'm being told a quick commercial breather is coming our way. Let's quickly get that over with. And on the other side, we'll go to Rahul and talk about, where should this constitutional balance really lie here and what's really happening on the ground? A quick commercial breather.
With Skoda Supercare and growing network across 180 plus cities, you never drive alone. Skoda. घर है वही जहाँ सब संग हो रिश्तों को रंग दो दुनिया को रंग दो
Birla Opus Paints.
अर्जुन कुछ भी पढ़े मेमोरी में नहीं रहता।
Take a date, not bites. No added sugar, preservative के बिना डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
लायन डेट नट बाइट्स।
तेरी एक जिद और फैक्ट्री वर्कर्स सब डबल।
रिटायर हो जाऊं क्या?
अच्छा, प्रॉपर्टी के अगेंस्ट लोन का आइडिया किसका था? पर बुढ़ापा आ गया हो।
इनकी जिद ने कारोबार भी बढ़ाया और रोजगार भी। टाटा कैपिटल लोन अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी के साथ।
Welcome back. You're watching In Your Interest. We're continuing with our focus on the UGC rules. Rao, I'm going to quickly read out the objective of these UGC regulations once again for everybody to understand and all the viewers as well. And Rahul Ishwar right on the other side. It says to eradicate discrimination only on the basis of religion, race, gender, place of birth, caste or disability, particularly against the members of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, socially and educationally backward classes, economically weaker sections, persons with disabilities or any of them, and to promote full equity and inclusion amongst stakeholders in higher educational institutions. Rahul, you know, supporters say that these rules finally give teeth to anti-discrimination, and critics on the other side, we've been hearing some of those voices as well, say that they risk moral policing of these campuses. Where does the constitutional balance really lie? And of course, your submissions.
Two quick submissions. No, I am a Hindu activist born in Brahmin community, but I believe Gandhiji was absolutely right when he said, Ambedkar is not breaking our head. That itself is a part of restraint from his side. Mahatma Gandhi famously said this because we have done centuries of injustice to our backward community brothers. Vivekananda rightly called my state and Suresh Sir's state as a lunatic asylum because we had such wrong, horrible practices. So we need to be very inclusive towards our SC/ST community brothers, our OBC brothers. There lies the original essence of Hindu unity and Indian unity. Mahatma Gandhi went to fast until death against the British policy of divide and rule of Hindu community in the Pune Yerwada jail when he brought us together in the Pune Pact. So we need to have that inclusion. But I genuinely believe there is a balance, and that balance says there can be fake complaints. Let us be honest about it. We have all been in college because of some fight here or there, because of some union party problems. We may end up being frivolous complaints on either sides. So the forward caste community members, concerns are very genuine because their academic growth can be curtailed, their career can be at risk, their exams can be debarred. So there needs to be a fine balance. We all are with. I think Modi ji is doing the right spirit. Modi ji and Pujaniya Sarsang Chalak Mohan Bhagwat ji has always taken a Gandhian center right line, during the past 10 years. So they have rightly said this idea is very nice, but at the same point of time, there are some genuine concerns from forward community or the forward community groups or the Savarna community groups because they feel they can be targeted and tarnished. I would humbly request our Ambedkarites, people. Ambedkar ji is our hero too. Ambedkar ji is our constitutional hero, our father of the constitution too. So I hope some kind of understanding across the spectrum needs to be there and some kind of balance needs to be there, and there needs to be a mechanism to check fake complaints. There needs to be some kind of revising committee, monitoring committee.
Right. I mean,
they will end up
you're a Hindu activist yourself. You began with that submission. You've often spoken about reform from within the systems. Now, from your standpoint, do you see that if there's any scope for safeguards without weakening the spirit of the law itself? Or, the logic of that there could be some sort of fake, cases, fake accusations, is that prudent enough for us to repeal the law altogether? Because that's what the protest cards and placards, say at these protest sites.
See, these protests are mainly, emotional protest and emotional outpouring. Let us be honest about this. I think Modi ji, a person of the stature of Modi ji, can definitely balance, sensitize, and bring harmony. Or anybody from the Modi ji's government. I think right now the ministers are making all the right noises and the right tone. At the same point of time, these protesting students need to be understood, heard. They need to feel heard, and it should not be like some kind of a Mandal protest earlier, which we all know didn't end up well in so many other aspects, and many people had to lose their academic life, and some even had to lose their life. So that it should not spiral out into this, and it should not hurt the larger cause of Hindu unity and Indian unity too. So we need to have that balance. I think there can be enough checks and balances that needs to be institutionalized, so that the forward community members will also not be feeling targeted, and they should also have some kind of shields in their hand, so that their interests are also not harmed.
All right. Point number F of the definitions of this UGC regulation, they say equity means a level playing field for all the stakeholders with respect to the entitlement and opportunity for the enjoyment and all legitimate rights. I mean, I'm trying to understand how we get there is a different debate, but what's the problem in envisioning our campuses that are equal for all? I need to go across the board once again, all the members, but I can see Mr. GM Shaheen, leader JDU, is also with us on the broadcast. Mr. Shaheen, let me quickly come to you for a quick opening comment. How do you view these regulations? Do you think social justice and institutional fairness can coexist without really polarizing the campus? Because the streets are definitely polarized.
See, absolutely. The main object of this 2026 regulation is the prevent discrimination, promote equal and inclusion, strengthen accountability, create structure, grievance, and mechanism, obviously.
Yeah.
And on grounds such as caste, religion, and gender, place or birth, disability for students, faculty, and staff, promote equal and inclusion. It's very important that the disadvantages of these groups like scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, social, educationally backward classes, we must promote equality and inclusion. That's very important. And strengthen your accountability by making institution more responsible for addressing complaint and enforcement, equality. So, if you can see that UGC, the key regulations, features of UGC 2026 regulations, equal and opportunity of centers, and every high education, educational institute must set up an equal opportunity center. These centers monitor implementation of anti-discrimination policy and help with complaints, including coordinating with local authorities like legal aid if needed. And college cannot form its own EOC. The university EOC will serve it. Okay?
Yeah.
I think you got the point. The institutions.
So, Mr. Shaheen, what do you say? Should the focus now be on diluting this law or strengthening its implementation? Where do you stand?
I mean to say strengthen this for implementation of this law. And institutions must form committee to oversees equity programs and compliance. Equity squads may be set up for the outreach, awareness, and monitoring. That is very important for this, because we have to get close this disadvantage of that, the old law that that scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people, they are getting the disadvantage of this. It's not good. That's not good. And clear definition is produced here, and discrimination is clearly defined, and timeline for heading grievance like acknowledgement within 24 hours and resolution with a set up period laid out. Institute must adopt transparent anti-discrimination policies and conduct awareness programs. It's very important.
You're absolutely right. But you see, the fairness in the due process being carried out, and you have the Dowry Act to look at, you have the SC/ST Act to look at, you've seen the new rape laws as well. You don't have survivors anymore, but the rape and murder numbers have suddenly gone up. So those are, credible points that need to be taken into account. Ashokji, people are talking about misuse. Durupyog ki bhi baat ho rahi hai. They're talking about misuse. What do you have to say on that front? Because that is a credible point. I mean, we need those safeguards. So let's tweak the law, but let's still have it. I mean, that's my limited opinion. Where do you stand on that front?
Mr. Kabir, that there are some hypotheses that people propose, but they don't have any evidence. Because unless there are evidence of misuse, there are evidence of the fake complaints. Recently, the UGC has itself indicated 118% rise in discrimination against the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and so I guess the evidence is against what people are saying. So they don't have any evidence. Only they have anxieties or I would like to subscribe to Mr. Rakesh Ranjan that the upper caste think any law that support the cause of the justice and equity always trouble the upper caste. So upper caste has to overcome this tendency that are they not in support of the equity? Do they want equity or not? Do they want inclusion or not? Why they believe that anything which supports the cause of the equity will harm the upper caste only? Why? Where does this idea come from? Because they have been brought up in an environment where they are taught to believe in discrimination, to believe in exclusion, to believe in perpetuating atrocities on the people who are lesser than their caste.
Okay.
So we have to understand this.
Okay.
And
Mr.
I guess
Kochitil,
university is rightly, UGC is rightly addressing this.
Okay. Those are two questions that Ashok ji has asked. Would you like to answer them?
Yeah, I think it's coming to simple. The so-called harassment springs from the fact that when you see somebody with minus 40% marks getting a seat in a PG medical college, obviously the persons who have worked hard and got better marks will naturally get angry. It's a human condition. Okay. Even if you are there in the place, you will feel that way. Look, I scored 60%. I'm not getting a seat. But somebody who's got minus 40...
But is this about admission? This is about, okay, you get to the college...
I'm just coming to that point.
Yeah.
I'm just coming to that point. Let me just elucidate on that.
Okay.
Now, the so-called harassment happens because of this conditioning. Okay, that I am being deprived of a seat. Now, look at what happened in the US. The first thing President Trump did when he came in was kicked out the equity part of it. He said, no more equity, no more blacks, no more nothing in the campuses, no more LGBT. Everybody is out. Everybody goes in with a singular thing. Now, don't tell me that US didn't have discrimination. They had huge amounts of discrimination against the blacks, against the native red Indians. They had lots of it. I'm not saying India is equal to US. What I'm trying to say is that you have a level playing field. That is where you're talking a level playing field. The level playing field is when children see that they are not getting admission. I'm talking the admission part of it. Forget the rest of the stuff.
No, but that's exactly my point, Mr. Kochitil. Let's not talk about admission. We're talking about once the students are on campus, no matter how they got there.
Exactly.
No matter how they got there.
I'm coming to that.
We're talking about that kind of discrimination. Okay, I'll give you an example. You know, Angel Chakma, that boy in Dehradun who got stabbed for calling all kinds of racial slurs. If something like that would have happened inside a campus, shouldn't that boy or that girl or that person, that student of the third gender as well, you've got gender that's been, brought into this ambit as well. It's not about admissions. It's about once the student...
Can I just interrupt you?
Exactly.
I'll talk about Rohit Vemula case. I'm from Hyderabad and I've been to that HCU campus during that time.
Okay.
The judicial magistrate and the High Court of Telangana, then Andhra Pradesh High Court, accepted the fact that Rohit Vemula was not a Dalit. The case was closed with that. It went to the Supreme Court and was challenged there.
But that's not what we're talking about here, Mr. Kochitil. With all due respect.
I'm coming to that point. Please understand the entire thing, where I'm coming from. Now, what happened when his suicide note, Rohit Vemula clearly wrote that it was the communists that he had an issue with. It was the SFI that he had an issue with. But what happened finally? The entire thing turned on its head. And today, the case that came to the Supreme Court was Rohit Vemula's mother's case, which is what led to this particular notification by the UGC. And look at Article 40. I'm telling you, mark my words, tomorrow the Supreme Court will say, no, introduce everything, put general categories.
We will never forget Rohit Vemula. That's number one. And Rohit Vemula's case shouldn't be the benchmark to bring about these regulations.
No, I'm not bringing. I said, where did this come from? I'm trying to explain to you, saying, where did this case spring from? because Rohit Memula's mother came and said, my son got discriminated because he was a Dalit, which was the wrong thing in the first place. That is what I'm trying to explain. This is how the law is misused. This is when
but that's again not the premise of our discussion right now, Mr. Kochitel. It's about whether or not our higher education institutions should have an equal playing ground. And what's wrong with these regulations is something that we're talking about. So one credible point that has come out is that there is a fear of misuse. There could be calculated misuse for this, for which we can have safeguards and we can talk about it. But why completely, say no to a law that's talking about good, to eradicate discrimination on the basis of religion, race, gender, place of birth, caste? I mean, this is such a welcome note. My apologies, journalism has to be neutral, but I am taking a side here. I think it's great. How we get to this point, that is something that we can debate about. But I think this is the need of the hour. Rahul, I will bring you in. I'm being told a quick commercial breather is imminent at this point in time. A commercial commitment coming our way, and there's lots more to talk about. Academic regulations suddenly turning into high voltage political drama, and the arithmetic with which all the political parties are also dealing with this. We'll touch upon that also, the politics. Ashokji, right after this small and short break,
खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
तेरी एक जिद और फैक्ट्री वर्कर्स सब डबल।
रिटायर हो जाऊं क्या? अच्छा, प्रॉपर्टी के अगेंस्ट लोन का आइडिया किसका था? पर बुढ़ापा आ गया हो।
इनकी जिद ने कारोबार भी बढ़ाया और रोजगार भी। टाटा कैपिटल लोन अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी के साथ।
ओह नो, बहुत बोर लग रहा है।
Take a date, not bites.
नो एडेड शुगर, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना। डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
Lion date, not bites.
You're watching In Your Interest, the UGC rules row. We're continuing with our focus on that, and the timing of these protests is also under spotlight and in question. Rahul, let me quickly come to you first. You've been waiting and you wanted to bring in your point. So come across with your point, but also help us understand how different political parties are probably reading this arithmetic. Everything under the sun in India especially is politicized. So why not politicize this protest as well? How do you look at that arithmetic coming across, and your point or rebuttal, whatever you wanted to make?
Yeah, just some additions. I agree with the sentiments that Suresh sir is expressing, which is widely prevalent. Let us be honest regarding that. There is a widely prevalent sentiments that forward caste communities are getting a raw deal and they are not being taken care of because they lack numbers. The forward caste communities are hardly 15 to 20% of India, and many political parties are ignoring them because of a larger OBC, SC, ST vote bank. There is a sentiment, nobody can deny that. But second, my humble submission is, we are not Donald Trump's land. We are the land of Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi and Ambedkar. And we have the very idea of social justice in our veins. But social justice should not become one-sided, lopsided and biased. That's the reason why better checks and balances. I would humbly request Ashok sir, we are all with the equity angle. We all want equality. We all want equity. All our social reformers have fought for it. But at the same point of time, another group should not be disadvantaged. Let me be very honest. When my son is studying in a college, when they are having a class fight, when they are having a political fight, another student should not misuse this particular law to target my son. That's the only thing. We are all with the larger goals. We are all with the Gandhian ideals, with the Ambedkarji's visions, or Mahatma Bhule's vision. But at the same point of time, one section of students, especially the forward caste, and we don't believe in the upper lower caste. Socially, it is forward and backward caste. We always say. Please remember, our greatest Ramayana was by a scheduled tribe, Valmiki. Our greatest of Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, who Kambel was the son of a fisherwoman. In that parlance, our greatest god Sri Krishna, is Yadav, technically being from OBC community. So we have that history of coming together. Yes, we had bad things in past. Nobody is denying that. No, nobody denies that there has been casteism, and our backward caste had to bear the brunt of it. But let us not have a revenge attitude. Let us balance it. Let us have better checks and balances. Let this idea be rolled out, but let us have better checks and balances.
Better checks and balances. Okay, Ashok ji, your point, your submissions?
No, I just wanted to clarify one thing. On Mr. Kochatil, he raised the issue on the reservation issues, or the percentage and all that. May I ask him, has he ever asked the government why every qualified person is not able to get admission in the college and university? Has upper caste ever raised this question ever? Why only they raise the issue on the reservation? Why not every student should get the right to get into the college or university or wherever they want to go? That will not come into their picture. They target the reservation. They are not targeting reservation. They are targeting the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBCs for their share which they have grabbed for centuries. They have not, they do not raise the question why all the pujaris come only from the Brahmin community. They will not raise that. That reservation will never touch to their mind. So we must remember that there is a bias, there is an upper caste bias against anything that is done in favor of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe to mete out the inimical attitude of the upper caste or the Savarnas. We must remember this. And I guess there are always opportunities to improve things.
Yeah.
But this attitude of squarely opposing, I'll just like to, that I have been observing these protests in your TV screen. All these protests are from Uttar Pradesh, Varanasi, Prayagraj, Gorakhpur, Lucknow,
No,
Noida.
there are some happened in Bihar, a few happened in Rajasthan as well, sir.
No, but I have not seen that. And there are very few. So, therefore, this media always try to overreach.
Okay. All right, Ashok. You know what? I can see Mr. Shaheen, something's brewing up inside his mind. He's been very calmly looking at this debate. He's been watching this.
Kabir, kindly let me in, please.
Doctor, we're going to come to you.
See, the main goal is to eliminate the caste-based and other forms of discrimination and promote equality and inclusive environment across all universities and colleges in India. That is the main goal. To keep aside like these things, because we don't want to continue the caste-based and other discriminations. And it is 2026. No, India wants to change now. And the clear that definition of this discrimination is showing, in various factors in our colleges, right, including caste-based harassment, exclusionary conducts, and institutional neglect also.
Yeah.
So that redressal is very important, timely, and institutions are required to follow clear timelines and process for handling complaints of discrimination conduct like things. And we must change that. 2026 is there. India is changing now.
Okay. The year has been cited as well. Many thanks, Mr. Shaheen. 2026. I think time for us to move on and put this all behind us. Doctor, final 30 seconds to you. I really need to wrap this up, but I do want to give you your final word.
Yeah, Kabir, I don't think, it's for SC in this bill, for SC, ST, OBC, there is nothing to celebrate. And for other, there is nothing to protest. Those people who are protesting, it's my very humble request, to kindly go through the bill and don't come out on the road only for the perception. Just observe the reality and analyze it and then come to the road.
But
second thing is that
Dr. Ranjan, whose reality? You're saying just realize the reality. Whose reality? I was going through a social media post where it said, बाग में एक पौधा बाकी पौधों से छोटा है तो बाकी बड़े पौधों को मत काट दीजिए. मोदी जी से दरख्वास्त कर रहे हैं लोग. These are kind of the posts, and they're asking for retweets also on those posts. So whose reality? That's the big question. I am glad that here on In Your Interest we were able to have this conversation like always. You're right, nothing for other people to celebrate, nothing for other people to protest.
Law have not been enacted in the parliament from the WhatsApp university.
Okay.
Law is enacted by parliamentarian by the very thought out process.
Look.
So, if you are saying that it is the misuse of the law, then tell me the single law in the world
which hasn't been misused. You're absolutely right. And that does not mean that we repeal the law. See, these are the points that we're talking about here. It looks great on paper. We need to curb discrimination. We need to expand these mechanisms that can curb and punish discrimination on those particular fronts. I think Rahul has raised a credible point. Dr. Ranjan, listen to this. No, you've raised a pertinent point. You've raised a pertinent point.
In IIT, more than 65 students suicide.
Yeah.
Why? If government is taking something to take care of it, then why there is a hue and cry from those people?
Okay. The Supreme Court is going to listen to this. Gentlemen, listen to me. Dr. Ranjan. The Supreme Court is going to pick this up. They're going to talk about it.
Yes.
And like Mr. Kochitil said, maybe they, ask the government to take it back. We'll have to wait and find out what the Supreme Court also says. Of course, it is, the top court of the land. But concerns have been heard. Dr. Ranjan, completely run out of time here. Let me summarize this for the viewers. There are some credible points that have been raised. Many thanks for all of you for joining this debate right now. I'm glad that we were able to talk about this. Mr. Shaheen, Dr. Ranjan, Rahul, Mr. Kochitil, Ashokji, many thanks for talking to us over here. I again think that there is room for those safeguard rails, but on paper, it looks like we're doing the right thing. In 2026, shouldn't our higher education institutions be inclusive? And I think that's the point here. Whether the Modi government will blink on this, whether they're going to take it back, if it really is a catch-22 or not for them, that is a credible point, and we need to talk about that. But that's point number 2. Point number 1 is, do we have mechanisms of inclusivity? And that's why this debate was in your interest. We're going to continue to pick up topics like these. Top developments right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
रश्मि, हाँ? ये मैडम बड़े शहर से छोटे शहर बसने जा रही है, बताओ।
अंकल
इंडिया के छोटे छोटे शहरों में ही तो है बड़े बड़े अखाड़े।
नए नए दावपेच सीखेगी और फ्यूचर में मेडल जीतेगी।
और बेटा इनका फ्यूचर?
बड़े पापा, SBI लाइफ से इनका फ्यूचर सिक्योर है।
अभी तो इसकी जीत के इरादा पक्का है। करो पूरे अपने इरादे,
अपनों से किए सभी वादे।
SBI लाइफ अपने लिए,
अपनों के लिए।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
टाटा कैपिटल 2 व्हीलर लोन्स के साथ इसने की अपनी नई बाइक की जिद पूरी।
रिश्तों को रंग दो, दुनिया को रंग दो।
Birla Opus Paints.
टाटा कैपिटल बिजनेस लोन के साथ इन्होंने की बिजनेस एक्सपेंशन की जिद पूरी।